Hello and welcome to Battlefield 4 News episode 60, and this is a bit of a big one, so you might want to sit back and relax because there's been a Battlelog update today and everybody dived into it to see what they could find out about the Dragon's Teeth expansion and came across something unexpected. So the information that I'm going to be giving you comes from two main sources, Battlefield Daily and Better Battlelog, and they've been digging into the files and come up with a new battlefield. And this would appear to be it, Battlefield Hardline. Now, you can notice from the graphics that are included in this new version of Battlelog that it's not Battlefield 5 Hardline, and it's not Battlefield 4 Hardline. So, no one's exactly sure what Hardline is. Could it be just an add-on for Battlefield 4 that will come after the DLCs? Or is this maybe a new free-to-play Battlefield? Nobody is really sure. All we know is that there is a Battlefield Hardline coming. From people's digging through the files, we know this, that there is a new game mode included in the game called Blood Money, and there are 4 classes: Enforcer, Mechanic, Operator and Professional. Now at various points in the files, Operator is also called Technician, so not sure exactly which one of those it's going to be, but it would appear effectively you've got Assault, Engineer. We're not sure exactly what Operator Technician is going to be, but probably some kind of Engineer as well, and Professional could well be the kind of Hitman recon role. Like I say, all we know about them is their names, and that there are 2 teams, Thieves and SWAT. Now at various points in the files there's also teams that have just got initials, but we don't know if those are just different names for the 2 teams or whether it means that there are going to be 4 teams in the game. But we definitely know that SWAT and Thieves are going to be there because they've got their own icons and they've got their own name. And there's some further information on the game modes. So we've got Team Deathmatch, we've got Turf War Small and Turf War Large. Now that's either Conquest or Domination, but it's not an entirely new game mode. And we have Heist, which is probably a variation of Capture the Flag. And we also have Blood Money, which is the new mode, which nobody really knows anything about. And there are a few images associated with the game in the files as well. So this one is probably a header for a page and will have titles and things across it. But as you can see, it's an urban setting. The next one, which is also probably going to be background for a page, is a sectional close-up of the first image. This image has Blood Money in the title, so it's probably something to do with the background for that game mode. Now this is a background image associated with Heist game mode, and as you can see there's a helicopter on top of a building. So it might be that when you've captured the flag or committed the heist, you then have to get to a helicopter on the map. This is a thumbnail for the video tutorial to Heist, and as you can see it's a screenshot of some gameplay. And it's obvious that this game mode is going to be new enough and different enough to have its own tutorial. Either that or the game isn't a standard Battlefield game and it's aimed at a different market who hasn't played Battlefield before. Up next is a screenshot from Battlefield Daily. In fact, these next few slides are all courtesy of Battlefield Daily on their Twitter feed. And these are the icons for some of the weapons and gadgets that you can use in the game. And the next image is actually a better example of what these are going to be because it's a bit clearer. So here you can see we've got Stingers, AKs, G36s, assault shields, baseball bat, grappling hook, CS gas, grenades, what looks to be a stun gun, pistols, crossbows, repair torches, a remote camera, which would be interesting, what appears to be kind of a placeable grenade, and a baton. So a lot of these guns we've seen before in various versions of Battlefield, but I don't think we've ever had a baseball bat or a grappling hook. Of course we had the crossbow before, but there's some interesting things in here, and it looks like that is an injector on the top row, which would mean that the defibs have probably been replaced with injections again. But this is actually quite a small snapshot of guns. So is this all the guns there are in the game, or is this just a few? Not really sure, but as you look, there's only 2 automatic pistols, there's only 1 sniper rifle, although maybe the G36 with the extended barrels is going to be down as a sniper rifle, but I wouldn't have thought so. There's only 1 anti-vehicle rocket, there's only 1 anti-air rocket, and there's only really 2 assault rifles on there. So this could be quite a restricted game, or at least it would be restricted at the start. Up next you can see various scopes and weapon attachments, and most of these are pretty similar to the Battlefield 4 versions. There's nothing really that surprising on there at all. And the rumour is, from looking through the files, that there may well be a marketplace for these and that you can buy them. And this is one of the things that's going to lead me to my conclusion at the end of the video about what this game actually is. Here we can see the icons for some of the gadgets that we're going to get in game, and on the next slide we're going to see a better version of these. So this is a similar selection of gadgets, but with what they're going to actually look like in game. So across the top we've got what looks like an ammo crate, the shield, explosives, maybe that's the revive injector, maybe it's a knockout injector because we've got 2 on here. We've got first aid kit, gas mask, CS gas, but we also have something that looks like some kind of sensor, or maybe an audio weapon, and we've got a remote camera. Now this is quite a small selection of gadgets, but if you think that this is SWAT versus criminals, let's say, then you're not going to have the full military arsenal that you get in a Battlefield game. So this is probably quite a reasonable selection of gadgets for a SWAT team or for a bunch of criminals to actually have. Next we can see the icons for the vehicles, and an interesting point on this is that only 2 of them appear to be armed, and those are the 2 Jeeps at the top. And what we've been asking for quite a while in Battlefield games appears to have happened, and you can just drive the civilian vehicles that are on the map. And we've got a few transport helicopters and a couple of what look like scout helicopters, but there don't appear to be guns on any of the scout helicopter icons, and you tend not to get guns on police helicopters anyway. And these are the icons for the vehicle add-ons, and as you can see we've got various weapons on there. We've got some heavy guns, minigun, what might be a rocket launcher, and we've got the usual fire extinguisher and repairing, and they appear to have a gas add-on, maybe a battering ram add-on, sensors, and a few things that are a bit confusing. There's a fan. Don't know what the fan's for, maybe getting rid of gas. But certainly some of the vehicles have the option of adding weapons to them. I'm just not sure which vehicles it actually is yet. Are you going to be able to bolt these onto the civilian vehicles, or is it going to be just the military jeeps and the helicopters? We really don't know. Now here you can see the ribbons that are awarded in the game, and as you can see there's not very many. And these are what are probably the associated medals. And these look awfully cartoony for me. If you consider the Battlefield 4 versions of the medals and the assignments, then these medals look awfully basic and quite cartoony in comparison. And if you think back to the earlier slides, then the weapon icons weren't exactly detailed either, and this is making me suspicious about what this game actually is. Something else that makes me a bit suspicious are these. Are these the level indicators? And if they are, then why do they only go up to 11? So that's the information we currently have on Battlefield Hardline. Now there are several things that are making me think this is not the major PC Battlefield that some people think it is. The first of those is that it doesn't have a number after Battlefield. So it's not Battlefield 5 Hardline and it's not Battlefield 4 Hardline. So I don't think this is a future add-on for Battlefield 4 after the current DLCs, and I don't think this is Battlefield 4's replacement. What I do think this is the replacement for the free-to-play Battlefield. So why do I think Hardline is the replacement for Play for Free? Well, Play for Free is actually quite old now. It's based on the Battlefield 2 engine. So you've got the whole option of upgrading it to the Battlefield 3 or the Battlefield 4 engine, which would improve the graphics and also the gameplay elements. If you look at the gadgets that are in there, such as the crossbow, maybe this is based on the Battlefield 3 engine, because we've already had crossbows in Battlefield 3. But then again, it's got riot shields in it, and we know we're getting those in Battlefield 4. According to those who've studied the code, there are references to the PS4 and the Xbox One in the code, which would mean it's most likely the Battlefield 4 engine, but there are also references to the 360 and the PS3. And I can't imagine that a Battlefield 5 game would come out on those older consoles anymore. The next thing that doesn't make me think this is a fully fledged Battlefield game is the graphic style of the icons, the ribbons and the medals. It seems far too simplified for a full version of Battlefield. Can you really imagine Battlefield 5 would be using black and white outlines of guns to represent them? No, I don't think it would. And would Battlefield 5 give you cartoony medals when they've been going for ultra realistic medals in Battlefield 4? I don't think they'd do that either. So this makes me think it's a title that can be played on something that maybe isn't quite as large as a PC screen. There's an option there. But for me, the final nail in the coffin that this is Battlefield 5 is the microtransactions. People are mentioning that in the code there would appear to be references to a marketplace for buying equipment and weapons. The only game that you get that in is Battlefield free to play. You don't get that in a major title, and I think if they put that into Battlefield 5, people would go ballistic. I think the major Battlefield titles are going to stick to the pay for the game, pay for the DLC model, and that this model that we're seeing here is the play for free model. So, Battlefield Hardline. It's got cut down inventory, it's got simplified graphic style, it might have a microtransaction model, it's probably going to be running on an older engine if you can play it on the 360 and the PS3, and in my opinion that all leads me to think that Battlefield Hardline is the replacement for Battlefield Play for Free. It's just my opinion based on what I've read, and feel free to go read everything yourself and make up your own mind, but that's the conclusion I've come to. Battlefield Hardline is Battlefield Play for Free. But that's it for this episode of Battlefield 4 News, and I don't think it's going to be long before we find out if I'm right or not, because as I mentioned before, EA is making announcements at E3 about Star Wars Battlefront and the possibility that there was going to be a Battlefield announcement, and that's probably going to be about Hardline. So we'll just have to wait and see. Thanks for watching.